Here we are in close, and I have the head pretty much completely stripped down. The injectors and injector rail are all removed. All of the valves, most of the valves, are still in. I'm in the process of removing them. About halfway through the intake side, I thought it would be a good time to kind of cut in and just kind of show the process of physically removing a couple of the valves. Again, I've kind of already started. As I'm pulling them out, I'm putting them here in my cardboard setup so that I know where they go. The plan is to set them down in a little plastic tote so they can soak. I've got some cleaning products over here that should do the trick. But again, the process here is to get each valve pulled out. I want to keep them in order so that they go back in the same hole. Let me get a light here turned on. So right in there, there is a valve seal, and the stem of the valve comes up through that seal, and the seal is what keeps oil on this side of the head. Obviously, you don't want oil to be in your combustion chamber. So when your valve seals start wearing out, they start allowing oil to seep by the valve, and some of that little bit of oil ends up in your combustion chamber and gets burned. And the worse your seals are, the more oil sneaks into your combustion chamber and gets burned. Now, these engines already from the factory kind of burn extra oil just because of the design of them. I have a valve spring here pulled off of this valve, so I'm going to push this out and show you what a valve looks like out here. So here is a valve, and you can see how much carbon buildup there is on this valve. You can also see on this ring around the outside of the valve, there's like a silver ring. And that silver ring is what is called the valve seat. And this valve seat is what seals around the valve hole. You'll also see there's kind of a silver ring around here. So those valves are meant to close and seal nice and tight. And what happens is you get carbon that builds up around the backside of the valve, and sometimes it gets a little chunky, or maybe like a chunk breaks off, and then it gets smashed in between the valve seat and the lap, and it causes a valve to not close all the way, and you can lose cylinder compression that way. Here you can see this is the combustion chamber side of the valve. You can see all this carbon that's kind of built up on here. It's really hard. See if I can get the camera to focus better. There we go. It's really hard carbon buildup. I mean, you can't even really scrape it off with a screwdriver. I'm going to have to get, kind of aggressive with this and some cleaner to get this cleaned up. I do have that broken valve in here, so again, we'll be replacing that broken valve with a not broken valve and getting this all cleaned up. Before I throw the valves back in this head, I will be going back through and doing what's called lapping valves. Basically, I will be reseating each one, making sure that they close and seal nicely when the springs are all in there and everything's reinstalled. Make sure there are no air leaks. That's the whole point of rebuilding this head, basically, is to clean it all up and make sure all these valves open and close fully and properly and safely. Again, I will be replacing all the seals as well. So once I get all the valves out, I will go through special pliers. These are valve seal removing pliers. I got these on Amazon. They were kind of cheap. I think they were like 12 bucks. And these will reach down in there and allow me to grab onto the valve seal and kind of wiggle it and pop it off. Hopefully, I've never used these pliers. This is a first time try with some cheap valve seal pliers. I figured that these were better than using regular pliers. I got you in here as close as I possibly can. I've never done this with a camera setup, so hopefully it doesn't get in the way and I don't bump it too much, but I'm trying to give you guys a great perspective of what I'm doing here. So this is a valve spring compression tool. I bought this on Amazon. It's pretty cheap, but it does the job. Basically, this side screws in and out, and this side screws in and out, and it works like a giant clamp. Now, this side is designed or is fitting of the right size to fit on the head of the valve. And then I have this side that fits nicely over the valve spring perch. Okay, now the kit does come with a few different sizes depending on the size of your valve springs and keepers and things like that. So that's kind of nice. But this is the way I need to set it up for this head specifically. I like the handle to be on the left-hand side just because I'm left-handed. And I also like the left side to be the side that I'm pressing the spring in on. Again, just how I have it set up because it's comfortable for me. I don't want to lose any of the keepers and I don't want to damage anything while I'm taking the valves out of the head. So let's begin. Basically, we put the valve spring compressor here around the head and they'll line up everything basically. So the idea is just kind of get it hand snug and everything is lined up nice and straight. Again, you don't want to really do any damage to the top of the valve. You want this to sit nice and flat and flush. And then this side you want to be pressing on the spring nice and square and flat. Take your handle and you can start screwing it in just a little bit. As you screw it in 1 or 2 turns, you'll feel kind of a little bit of a pop. And that's nothing to be alarmed of. All that is just the keepers popping back off of that ridge that's on the end of the valve. What you're going to do is just screw it in, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 times. Get your magnet ready so when the keepers fall out, you can catch them on the magnet like so. And stick them on your magnet tray. And now you can slowly undo the clamp here. Again, being careful not to damage the head of the valve. Unscrew it. And you can set it off to the side. And here we can take the valve out, or take the spring out. This, again, is the spring with the perch. I keep these on a little magnet tray here. Okay, we have a valve pulled out here. There we go. So on this valve, you've got, again, there's the end of the valve stem where the keepers catch. This is all the carbon buildup here on the back of the valve. And there's the head of this one. And this will go into my cardboard. There we go. So I've got one more intake valve to take out, and then I will be ready to do the exhaust side. Now the exhaust side is the one where that broken one is, so obviously that'll get tossed and replaced with a new one. We'll get to cleaning. Here is a demonstration of what I was talking about with soaking the valves and why I'm putting them in the cardboard here. So basically, I have them here in order. I still have to add the exhaust valves on here, but you can see here on the underside, all the heads of the valves are all sitting basically evenly. I will be pulling them out some, so the cardboard, you know, but again, I will basically fill the bottom of this tote with, you know, either seafoam or diesel fuel or whatever, the soak, and then I will set the valves down in that liquid and let them sit for a little bit, and then we will clean. Hopefully they break down most of that carbon on here with sitting and soaking. I will also be doing the same with the head and a bigger tote. I'm going to take the head and soak it and spray the crap out of it and clean it all up so we get rid of all of this carbon buildup, and then I can reseat the valves and get this head assembled again. Here is one of the exhaust valves pulled out. I wanted you guys to see what that was looking like. The exhaust valves obviously don't have the excessive gummy carbon buildup that the intake valves have. However, the exhaust valves do get carbon buildup on them still. You can see that the seat of this valve is super beat up. That means this valve has been crushing burnt carbon and all kinds of stuff repeatedly into the seating of this valve. These valves were not closing properly at all. I can just tell by how much buildup is on here. You can see also how much buildup is on the seat. So I get you in here, you can see how much buildup compared to here. See how this is nice and shiny? The seat is like pretty clean, still gummed up, but pretty clean. Over here you can see the exhaust seat is just nasty. So these exhaust valves weren't closing all the way, and these intake valves were also not closing all the way. There's some of these that had like some real bad chunks built up. So the goal again is to clean all of that up. I just wanted to get you in close here so you can see how all that buildup was affecting the valves. Be aware when you get all of the valve springs pulled out and you start cleaning the head, underneath each valve spring there is a little shim. Make sure you do not lose these. There needs to be a shim under each valve spring. So you have a valve spring keeper at the top. Let me get a spring. You have a valve spring keeper. The two little halves. These little guys. A spring and then a base or a shim for each spring. Again, shim, spring, top, keepers, and valve for each hole. Pulling the valve seals. Here is one of the valve seals. They are color coded, and so there are these orange ones, and what color are the other ones? The other ones are like gray, I think. Blue, hard to tell. Anyway, there is a difference between the exhaust and the intake seals. The seals in this engine are beat up. You can see there's a bunch of carbon buildup on it. The rubber is really hard. It's like really hard. These are supposed to be kind of a softer rubber. These are meant to seal along the valve stem and keep oil where it's supposed to be. And again, this seal, had a tear in it. So you can see on the underside, maybe you can't, but it's all built up with gunk. So anyway, we take our remover pliers here and basically go down in there, grab onto the valve seal. Oop. Give it a twist and a pull, and it'll pop out. And there we go, remove the valve seal. You can see here I have the head soaking here in the tote. I'm just using basically brake clean and a toothbrush and Scotch-Brite, and we just soak it, baste it. This brake clean just basically breaks all the carbon up, breaks it all down, makes it easy to scrub off. We're cleaning the whole head here. When we're done cleaning it, we will give it a very, very thorough rinsing in all the nooks and crannies. Basically, you get down in all the holes here and clean all those out, all the intake holes, all the exhaust holes, each one with the scrub brush. Again, just keep basting it. This brake clean breaks all that carbon down. I will be letting this soak for a while. You can't just expect it all to come off right away. But if you keep working it, scrubbing all the areas, flip it over, clean all that out, the other side out as well, this head will be nice and clean and ready to go back on the car. Here's a nice side-by-side comparison of the new cleaned up head and the old head off the spare engine. You can see how all the oil stains and everything came clean. And here's the head on the other side. You can see how clean all of the valve pockets came, all of the intake channels and everything for the exhaust. Everything came very clean. It took quite a bit of scrubbing, but everything cleaned up pretty well. The soak tank was definitely the right way to go when cleaning this. I don't have a solvent tank or a hot tank or anything, so it's kind of what I had to make do with. But I think it turned out pretty good for basically cleaning it all by hand. First head I'm ever rebuilding, so hopefully everything runs and works properly when we put the car back together. Here's a nice close-up of the intake ports. You can see how clean those became. Got the head all reassembled here. Next steps is to put it back on the block. So the surface is all prepped, and yeah, all the valves back in, valve springs are all back in. We are ready to reassemble. Head cleaned up pretty good. Other side's looking pretty good too. All the exhaust ports cleaned up pretty well. There's the other side.